and Trails Trust website. Lassen and Trails Trust website here. It's really awesome. Like I said earlier, it's been updated recently. And for those of you that didn't know, it's got information about all of our events, and we try to keep it up to date as possible, as well as trails and conservation. And over here in the corner, we have the donate button. So, this is one of our events that we're trying to do, kind of raise awareness about trails in Lassen County. But given the COVID situation, we're definitely going to see a lot less income from our events this year. So if you're in the position you're able to and would like to donate to, or re-up your membership to Land Trust, it's one way to do it. We'd really appreciate it for sure. Under the Land Trust website, though, if you go to the Trails and Conservation tab and under Lassen County Trails, there's a new link here to the Lassen County Trails map. And so that's what I'm going to be starting out demoing today, is the trails map that I've been working on. So if you just click there, and it'll open up a new tab for you. And it'll bring you the splash screen. And so this is kind of a big shout out to all of our annual business sponsors who have kind of committed to sponsoring the Land Trust throughout the entire year. And so I'd like to thank them all. Smith Properties, Susanville Supermarket, Jackson Service Center, the Lassen Rural Bus, Banner Lassen, Les Schwab, and Sierra Central, who really make this possible. And so, my background is in kind of computer mapping, geospatial mapping, and so I've been trying to really build some tools for everybody so that they can access trails, especially while we're all trying to keep away from others. Lassen County, one of its best features is that it does not have dense trail use. And so this is one tool that you could come in and explore all of the trails here in Lassen County and even some of the trails in the surrounding area. And so this map is pretty neat. The other kind of cool thing about it is it has land status on there. I know there's always a lot of question about, am I on private land or public land? So if you have reception, you could actually open this up on your phone, and it should show you, kind of if you're in the relative area where you are in relation to that private land. It's not totally perfect, but help you access public land especially. And so just wanted to kind of give a quick tour of this web map, kind of show you all how to use it. Over on the right side here is the bookmark tab. So in the bookmark tab, you can kind of scroll through these different areas. So start off going down to Susanville here. And this map is optimized to utilize your phone and utilize on your phone. Because I know these days, if you're grabbing this link from Facebook or somewhere else, the odds are you're on your phone or your tablet. And so these bookmarks should take you to exactly where you're looking for. And it should be optimized to work well with your phone interface. And so as you go into Susanville, you zoom in, you can see us here at the depot, down here at the head of the Biz Johnson Trail. Also have some highlights with our community garden and the location of the farmers market, as well as locations of all the local trailheads as you're kind of zoomed out here and see a whole variety of different trails. And I've tried to symbolize the map to lump the colors are based on kind of who manages that trail, with the orange being the BLM largely, brown is the city, and also the county is here in red. And as you zoom out or move around, you kind of see a few different trails. And one of the neat trails that I'm really proud of is the Lassen Creek Conservation Area. It's down here off Richmond Road. And for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it's about a 5-mile trail network that's located just off Richmond. And as I zoom in here, one cool thing with this map is it should bring us into the kind of aerial imagery. You can see what the ground actually looks like, where the trail heads at, and get to explore that trail a little more closely and see what the views look like as you kind of zoom down into the end of it here, where it's overlooking the Lassen Creek Conservation Area house, which is a house and property managed by the Land Trust, kind of as well as the surrounding area and meadows, which looks super green during the summertime here. If you click on any one of these sections, it should pop up with the length of trail for that area, as well as kind of the use, the recommended use, so non-motorized for foot, bike, and horse, and then the surface type, if it's single track, two track, paved, or anything like that. So you can help you find the trail that you're most interested in. So I'll kind of scroll around and check out a few of these other areas. So we have LCCA, which I just talked about. Another really cool one, which we'll get to in a little bit, is the MODOC line. So the MODOC line is about an 85-mile rail to trail that actually goes all the way from Wendell, and it continues along that line all the way up to past Likely, almost to Alturas. And so the sections we've got highlighted here are sections that have been improved for use. It's still predominantly a 4x4 trail. However, hiking, biking, horseback riding are all acceptable uses on there. It can also be driven with anything with a little bit of clearance, and four-wheel drive is recommended but not really required. It's more just having a little bit of clearance. But a really cool trail, and we'll talk about that in more detail here in a minute. Another cool area that I'm really familiar with is the Bald Mountain Trail Network. And so we've actually added a few more trails to Bald Mountain in the last year. And so I think as of now, there's about 26 miles of trail up there on Bald Mountain, which you can access down here off Byers Pass Road. And so, this map will help you kind of see those trails, figure out, how long you want to go for a hike and what's up there as well. And soon I'll be adding, more photos to these trailheads so you can kind of get a picture, get a idea of what it looks like out there as well. Another cool one that I really like is the Ranch Park here in town. And so I've done a bit of work trying to make sure that these routes are fairly accurate. Done most of them down here. There's still some work that needs to be done on kind of tuning up those trail lines. But yeah, really cool area. As you zoom in even further, you should be able to see some of these photo points, which soon we'll have pictures associated with them as well. And some of the trailheads do already, should already, if they work properly. But yeah, another really kind of cool feature about this, as I'll kind of pan out and show you some of the trails that are available on here. There's South Eagle Lake, the Stone Trail up at the north end Eagle Lake, as well as a lot of the trails over here in the Caribou Wilderness and throughout Lassen, and then the PCT I've included as well as the paved trail along Lake Almanor, and the OHV trails that are down at Fort Sage, for those of you looking for some OHV opportunities. Soon enough, I'll also have the trails down here at Dry Valley and as well as Rice Canyon over here. With that, I'll kind of move on to the next one. Did you guys have any questions or anything with this map? I did get a question about developing an app. Currently, we don't have any apps in development, but there are some really cool apps that are kind of already exist, called Collector for ArcGIS and Survey 123. And I hope in kind of a week or two to do another webinar series to kind of show folks how they can actually download that map or download that app, and then actually offload this exact map that we're looking at on their phone with high resolution and kind of all the detail that you have here, but in pretty small amounts, 6 to 12 megabyte packages for certain areas. So you have all these available offline, similar to kind of an Avenza style map, but you can really explore those high resolution and use it while you're out in the field, out hiking around. So, but great, thank you. Okay, move on to the next one here. So this one's not available yet on the website, but it will be very soon. This is our elevation profile map. So it's kind of the same background that you were looking at earlier, but this time it's got this really cool elevation profile down here. So if I click on a route, click on the South Side Trail, it'll tell me the miles, kilometers, what the use is, and the surface type. You can close that so you can see a little better. And you can actually trace along the trail here and see, you know, what the elevation is at that location, kind of how much it's gone up or down over the course of the trail, and actually see, you know, where these little big climbs are at, you know, along that trail, and really kind of trace your route. And gives you some great information down at the bottom, what the total change in elevation is, from the top part all the way down to here, what your min and max elevations are as well. So pretty cool little tool to play around with these. And I'll go in and maybe do something that's, you know, more common too, the Skyline path here. This is a paved trail just outside of town. I was just riding it the other day, actually. That's a surprise with how clean it is. So big shout out to the folks that have been, you know, make sure that gets swept each year so it's rideable, and no goat heads out there at all yet, which was really cool as well. But yeah, so you can see that big climb as you come into Ash Street and then the downhill, you know, all the way back around to Johnsonville Road. Another really neat feature on here is you can actually just draw any line. So you can pick an area and put in whatever you want. A couple weeks ago, I got out and was able to hike Skedaddle Peak here, and you can see kind of what that looks like roughly by just drawing your line, you know, wherever you want to. So it does take a minute to load, but you know, on your phone or anything, it should be a lot quicker. And you can kind of see that elevation change and trace that along. So even if you're not on a formalized trail, you can draw your own trail in there, which I think is super cool. And actually about these maps, you know, a lot of this data is national, and so, you know, you can scroll around and check out national parks or wilderness areas all the way around the western United States. So it's really focused on Lassen County, but and that's where the trails are, but you know, the map and the base maps for it and everything work all over the place. So really cool tool to explore around the county. You can also change the base map or change the different layers over here. So I have a layer that just shows single track for those interested in just, you know, single track mountain biking or single track trails, not trying to go on any two tracks or established roads, which is nice. And you can also change the base map if you're only interested in imagery, you want a different topographic map. There's really a huge amount of options for different stylized maps that are available to you. So something that I really like to explore around, really high resolution imagery too. Come zoom into the depot here and you know, see what's going on in the parking lot. So pretty neat, you know, way to interact with the data here in Lassen County. Any questions before I go on to kind of our tour of the MODOC line? Yeah, shout out that it's really good for figuring out what's good for your kids or not, so you can kind of interact with those really easily. And you know, this is something I've been working on for the last, you know, couple months here and there, but I hope to really get it dialed in over time. And it's nice that it's customizable and, you know, pretty easy to work with. So if we can keep moving, I wanted to take you all on a tour of the MODOC line. So this is what's called the story map that I've been working on. And I really wanted to kind of provide some more information on the MODOC line. A lot of people aren't familiar with it or realize that we have this enormous rail trail, you know, pretty much in our backyard. And, you know, this will be available on our website. It's not available there yet. I'll put all of the links to these in the chat, and you can access them. They're just pretty long links. So you'll want to copy and save those somewhere, put them in your bookmarks when we're done here. But, you know, an introduction. So the Land Trust, we're a small nonprofit located here in town in Susanville. We've been working for over a quarter century to conserve all that makes a region home for our friends, neighbors, as well as wildlife. And we lie at the convergence of the Sierra Nevada, the Cascades, the Modoc Plateau, and the Great Basin. And it's an area that I've really grown to love. I've been out here since 2012, and man, it doesn't get any better. But here's a really awesome photo of Mud Flat. For those of you who are familiar with Mud Flat, this photo was taken about right here on the Modoc line in August when all those sunflowers bloom. So it's really great access to get into areas of Mud Flat that would be too wet to really visit, any other way. But yeah, like I said, the Modoc line is an 85-mile rail trail, covers 2,000 acres from northeastern California's most dramatic rangelands, provides views of the Skedaddles, the Warners, and opportunities to see wildlife like antelope. And it connects BLM lands from Biscar Reservoir to the Tule Mountain Wilderness Study Area. And so accessing some of these BLM lands, sometimes the roads aren't super great, but the Modoc line, is a fairly consistent road. You have to watch out for some remnants of railroads at times, but it's really neat. And like I said, there's 3 sections of the Modoc line. We have the Wendell section, Snowstorm Canyon, and the Likely section. And all 3 of these sections are maintained. The other sections are open for use, but they're not as, we haven't had the funds really to keep them as well maintained to encourage travel on them. So you can actually travel all the way through. Currently we're dealing with some trespass issues down here south of the Carlo Road access, but so that is one area you might want to avoid, but the rest of the route from Carlo all the way north is totally accessible. So we'll focus on the Snowstorm Canyon section today because I think that's really the coolest section in my opinion. It's 22 miles, starts at Carlo Road in the south and continues north past Biscar Reservoir, Snowstorm Creek, and then ends in Ravendale at Horse Lake Road. So the Modoc line is a trail of many uses. It's pretty cool in that it is open to 4-wheel drive, regular vehicles. It's great for cruising in a UTV, ATV, you could get off on some of the side roads, motorcycle, as well as your mountain bikes, kind of gravel grinder bikes, hiking, whatever you're interested in. It's a nice, flat, graded area. So, for hiking, short hikes, along there are really great for those that aren't looking for a steep trail or anything that's has bad footing or anything like that. So to get started here, we start out at Carlo Road, which is access off 395 here, opposite Shin Ranch Road, before you start climbing up to the rest area off 395 there. Take a left. It's a gravel road. It can be a little washboardy at times, but it's pretty good. And very accessible. And you get some nice views of the reservoirs off to your right as you get going. The first really cool stop is the Biscar Wildlife Area. And Biscar has 2 major reservoirs, as you can see in this map here, and you can explore around and check it out. But Biscar is an amazing oasis in the desert. Huge amount of diversity of birds. I've gone down there and seen all kinds of butterflies, monarchs cruising around. Lots of animals coming down there. Really cool plant communities. So a really awesome place to go. It is open to fishing, and there's a pretty good road that comes in right here, as you can see, right off the Modoc line. Very accessible. Don't need significant clearance or anything to get down to that point and explore the Biscar Reservoir there. As we keep going, we've got Fredonia and Black Mountain views. So as you're kind of cruising along, you just first start seeing Fredonia and Black Mountain off in the distance, which I think is really cool. Kind of first start seeing those mountains as you're coming across the plateau there. Another thing that's pretty neat is the wildlife. I don't think I've ever driven the Modoc line and not seen pronghorn. This is a really terrible picture. I got to get a better one in here, but you can see some pronghorn right off the road. You know, might not see them every time, but this is a really popular area for pronghorn. They love to hang out along this section of the Modoc line. I've also seen, you know, all kinds of other wildlife out there in this section as well. As we keep going, you know, this spot I think is one of the most fascinating in the area. So you get to this point where Pete's Creek over to the west and Snowstorm Creek actually come within 1,000 feet of each other, and they never intersect. And this notch is kind of this low point that you can see here, is the closest that they really come, and you can kind of see this really fascinating hydrology that has occurred over time. I think it's really, really interesting. And so they don't join each other until about 20 miles further, all the way down almost to the prison, kind of east of the prison off Belfast Road, where Willow Creek and Secret Creek actually join right there. So it's, I think, just really interesting that those creeks get so close but never actually touch. As we kind of zoom back here, past the notch, there's some really interesting roadside attractions. This skeleton of bathtub's been out there for a while on private land just to the east of the Modoc line, and always is one of my favorite things to see as I'm coming along the trail. And you get some great views of Snowstorm Ranch. You know, as you're coming through some of the tighter parts of the canyon there, really awesome views. And even some really fascinating geology. There's a point here where you come across some amazing columnar basalt formations. I think that, you know, they're definitely my favorite geologic formation. Just really interesting, and they form as the columnar, or as the basalt kind of cools uniformly. This results in the geometric jointing or fracturing. And I got a link in here if you want to learn some more about it. Talks about how that process actually occurs. Then as you keep going, I was able to track down this really neat picture from 1944, which shows the Modoc line in action. And I hope to update this story map in the future. I've been able to reach out to a few railroad buffs who been really interested in the Modoc line, and have some great pictures and stories about its history. It's a really cool trail, and actually when you talk to train buffs, they are just obsessed with it because of its length, the kind of ruggedness, and the time frame that it existed. It wasn't a super, wasn't around for a super long time, but it was, you know, really well built and fascinating. One thing that's cool when I've gone along there, there's the bridges and everything. You know, are cement abutments that are stamped with 1932 when these bridges were put in, and they're still as solid as they ever were. They're really incredible engineering, an extremely over-engineered trail system. And then as you get to the end here, we finish up in Ravendale off the Horse Lake Road, and so you kind of continue along. There's a point where you could switch over to Horse Lake Road a little earlier, or you can take the Modoc line all the way through to Ravendale. And check that out. But let's see. Yeah, so that is our Modoc line story map. And one of the things we wanted to kind of interact with you all and ask for your feedback on, you know, other things you'd like to see story maps of, or anything else that, you know, you find really interesting in Lassen County that we could, you know, provide a little more information or more, you know, better mapping of, or anything along those lines. So if you get a chance to respond in the chat, or if you want to take yourself off mute and talk, I'm going to step away for 1 second and turn the lights on because it's getting a little dark in here. Hopefully you can see me again. I was afraid that's what was slowing things down, so I took it off video. Okay. Hopefully you can see me and hear me still. Yeah, the caves near Eagle Lake would be really awesome. I've been in a couple of them, not all of them, but yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, so one thing I'm hoping to do in the series, I probably have one or two more webinars that I've got kind of laid out are to, one is to show folks how to use this app called Survey123 that they can log into. We have a username and password for that. And you can actually go out and collect, photos around Lassen County. A lot of these will be targeted at our trails and, can help us identify trail maintenance needs or issues, but also, just take fun photos, pictures of some great vistas, whatever you're doing so that others can kind of interact with each other, while we're social distancing and everything like that. So hope to have that available soon. Might be able to show a little preview of some of those too if we get time, but I think I'll wait till the next one so that we don't take up too much of your evening. One cool thing is, as you've seen in the news, there's, or maybe on Facebook, we're looking, or the Forest Service is developing some new trails kind of in this area off Fredonia Peak. And so I'm hoping, in the coming months, probably still be quite a few months, but that project will be approved and we can start development of those trails and be able to add those to the trail map here. I'm going to take this time to post in some of those links so that you are able to access these on your own and go ahead and explore. I also put my contact information, so if you're interested in, if you got any questions or like help finding anything, I can help you with that as well.
Hey, Andrew, this is Tiffany.
Yeah.
Aren't they accepting comments right now on the Fredonia Trail project? Like the Forest Service is looking for feedback?
Yeah, they definitely are. Yeah, that comment period is open for, I'm actually not sure when it closes. Liz, I think is on here, might be able to give us the closing date, but that is definitely something that if you're not aware, you should reach out and provide your comments. It's a really awesome resource to the county. I think it's going to bring some travel folks coming out here to ride, but also just giving us something out our back door to be able to ride from town all the way to Fredonia Peak and basically do single track mountain biking all the way from Fredonia Peak back to town. Via that network and then the Southside network. So really cool, all kinds of awesome trails planned in that area. And another thing I should mention is I think the BLM has moved forward or is hoping to move forward with approving a trailhead for Bald Mountain in the coming months. And so that'll really improve access to Bald Mountain trails out there as well, with a kind of formalized trailhead that is, doesn't require as much clearance or anything to get out there. Still not bad. I've done it in my sedan, but could be a little better. See, I think I've been accidentally only texting Chris, so let me put these things in here again. Here. Everyone see the links in the chat? And I know on the mobile device, chat's kind of hard to see. So I'll put up my email address if you want me to send you any links. I'm happy to do that as well.
And these can all be
Tiffany, you cut out a little bit there.
Sorry, these all can be found on the Land Trust website.
Currently just the Lassen County one. We're working on getting those other 3 on there. They should be on there pretty soon.
Okay, okay.
The other 2, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, so any other questions or feedback? Like I said, this is the first time we've done this, so we really appreciate, any comments or other things you'd like to see, like us to talk about. We're really open to anything, so please reach out, use the chat, take yourself off mic or off mute. Well, thanks, Amy, for posting the link to the comments. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, I think this map is really amazing. It would be cool, like maybe to link it to different county websites or something as well. I don't know if that's possible, but
Yeah.
or City of Susanville,
Yeah.
other things.
Yep, it's definitely possible. I just got to reach out to them. This is something I've been working on, and so it's it's kind of still a work in progress. I want to get it tuned up to this point and get some feedback from people before we really made it live. But I think it's probably at a point where it can do that. I think I have some other maps with a little bit different symbology, so it's clear about what routes are paved, what are 2-track kind of gravel roads and everything like that, so a little easier to interact with too. Yeah, some directions on how to actually get to these places for sure. We can get those written up in there as well. And maybe,
Andrew?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Liz Norton, and I just wanted to point out it's really exciting to hear about the regional trails planning in Plumas County. So in the very near future, there'll be an extension from the Biz Johnson trailhead at Mason Station into Westwood, and then all the way over to Lake Elminor and south to Canyon Dam. So I hope there's an opportunity to add more trails, because the connectivity between the Modoc line and the south end of Lake Elminor will open up 179 miles of continuous trails for people to enjoy, and that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's phenomenal, Liz. As I've been building this, every time I could get my hands on some, new GIS data to update the map is always exciting. So really looking forward to the point when those are, available to ride and everything.
And thank
really
you so
cool.
much for these maps too, Andrew. It's nice to have this information on the website. It's easy to access and plan your trips, and it's a wonderful opportunity. We have a great trails network between Lassen and Plumas counties. So get out there and enjoy your trails.
Yeah, certainly. Chris asked, is the lat long we're in the trailhead? So yeah, I've made sure to include those, and maybe what I'll do is, it's not too hard in the back end to update that to make it a hyperlink, so you can click on it and it'll open up in Google Maps, and it'll just avoid having you to copy paste and everything. So that's a great tip. Appreciate it. But yeah, currently you can click on any one of these and it has the full latitude and longitude in there, as well as any other points on the map. And some of the other, I tried to include restrooms, especially in the town of Susanville, because that's really important if you're in town looking, to get out. But things like Riverside Park, where they've updated those, and need to get Memorial Park in there. And then some other, things like fishing access. If you really zoom in here, there's lots of fishing, swimming access, and even rock climbing out at Pigeon Cliff. And over at Tom's Thumb. So yeah, definitely, if you have ideas about different things to include, reach out, because I'm always looking for, different ways to make people interested in what we have here for trails. So.
Thanks, Andrew. This is Amy. And just one other thing that I wanted to bring to all of your attention related to our local trails is that a couple of our volunteers are also working on a scavenger hunt sort of setup that will be great for families to maybe get out and explore some new trails and see some new places. So we're working on some clues and some figuring out how we want to have people interact with us when they find the clues, and maybe some prizes and things like that. So keep an eye out for that. We'll be sending out information to our email group and on Facebook and anywhere else we can get the information out, Susanville stuff. So just wanted to bring that to your attention as well.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's going to be a really fun, good way to kind of get folks out and explore. Another place I want to point out quick is our new Frisbee golf course. There's a trailhead for that at the Skyline Park with 18 holes, which has been really fun and a kind of new way to spend an afternoon in Lassen County right out the back door. It's really awesome and an excellent way to social distance, that's for sure. All right, well, with that, if we don't have any more questions, I'll probably wrap it up so you can enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be sure to let you know about our next webinars in our series. And, feel free to reach out to me with any questions or comments, or, if you know of any websites that you would like to get this added to, it's really easy to add a link to it. Or to anyone's website, or it can actually be embedded as well. So lots of opportunities to allow folks to access this information. But thank you all so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate it, and your patience with our first kind of go at this. So thank you all so much, and have a great evening.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.